Hello, everybody. Brian here from quantlabs.net. It's been a while since I did a proper recording of a podcast, but don't do a lot since I do live streaming now on TradingView, bigger audience. Anyways, I wanted to go over an article. I heard a data point within the last week, something to do with 300 million jobs will be lost due to artificial intelligence, AI. And that is a staggering number. So this was an article put out by Forbes back in March 2023. And the headline was Goldman Sachs predicts 300 million jobs will be lost or degraded by artificial intelligence. So again, this is from Goldman Sachs. A lot of companies, basically it highlights that a lot of companies will have a lot of cost savings. Um, and it could increase the country's GDP up to 7%. As you know, with the new, well, it's not new, but it's been out for a while, OpenAI, ChatGPT, as well as DALI E, which is the images. It's grown very, very, very quickly. Um, so, question was, will this impact your job? It's the same kind of comparison when the world went from giant mainframe to modern day technology. There was a fast-paced growth in AI reshaping the world. So instances of or examples, AI can pass an attorney bar exam and score quite high, as well as the SAT. And apparently, if AI continues, it will add 1% to the US GDP. I don't know what will happen to all the laid off people. I mean, here in Canada, they're introducing or have just announced that they are ready to bring out, the dreaded universal basic income for 2,000 a month for those basically sidelined, and this is including for all temp workers, refugees, and the whole like. So there will be a portion of the population working, paying their tax, and a portion of that tax will go to subsidize other people that are not working. If you were to look at the U.S. debt clock, which I'm just going to pull up now, um, what will happen is about one third of the population in the U.S. is working and are taxpayers. And let me just pull it up here. So I've gone through this before. Um, right now, population in the U.S. is 335 million. This can be found on usdebtclock.org. So the U.S. population 335 million. In the U.S. workforce right now, 161 million. 6.45 million are unemployed. Actual unemployed is 10.4 million are unofficially unemployed. So right now, the amount of taxpayers are, let's see here. Uh, it's all buried in here somewhere. I'll find it. Uh, yeah, well, at the end of the day, if you have a population, oh, here we go. So 335 million in the US, 128 that are taxpayers. So you have maybe roughly about one third of the population paying tax. And then the rest of what's the rest of the population doing? That's just over 200 million people. What are they doing? They sitting around. So I don't know what the plan is, but a lot of those unemployed, maybe they're working under the table. I don't know. Don't pay tax, and as a result, just like in Canada, we'll probably get some kind of form of universal basic income, a UBI, in coming years. And who's paying for that? The tax workers, the honest people. So this is where we're going, and this is before the mention of AI. So again, what will be taken out with AI? Office admin, support, legal, architecture, engineering, business, financial operations, management, sales, healthcare, art and design, and they're just some of the job sectors that will be sidelined or limited, as they say. There will be new jobs created, um, and it may be a productivity boost for non-displaced workers. So, for instance, if you are like I've just started learning about something called prompt engineering for AI. So when you put in your question to the AI, if it's ChatGPT, let's say, it's a prompt. So that's going to be potentially a growing area of industry, call it. And yeah, so this was something that really boggled my mind. So this is an automation technology has the primary driver of U.S. income equality over the past 40 years. There was a report done, published by the National Bureau of Economic Research, claims, this is very important to understand, claims that 50 to 70% of changes in U.S. wages since 1980 can be attributed to wage declines among blue collar workers replaced or degraded by automation. So, for instance, if you were a factory worker from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s, you probably got replaced by some form of automated robot in the factory plant floor. So, or it's got offshore to Asia, let's say. So that's what happened since the 70s. 50 to 70% change in U.S. wages, which drag down wage decline. So this is what we call a race to nowhere. Artificial intelligence. Robotics and new sophisticated technologies have caused a vast chasm in wealth and income equality, and it will accelerate. So if you're coming out with a postgraduate degree, meaning a master's degree, your pay raise goes up. But if you are a lowly educated worker, you see your salary decline. Real earnings of men without a high school degree are now 15% lower than they were in 1980, all because of this AI. So yeah, as I said, there's industrial robots replaced blue collar workers in manufacturing, uh, specialized software replacing clerical workers. Here's another big one that people don't think about, that will get probably replaceable in the long run. Trucks and cab drivers, cashiers, retail sales associate, and people who work in the manufacturing plant factories will be continuously replaced by robotics and technology. So imagine we got driverless vehicles. Think of the new Tesla rig that is coming out now. Kiosks in fast food, restaurants, and self help. I'm seeing that in supermarkets now. Quick phone scans at stores will soon eliminate most minimum wage and low skill jobs. So, what do you do with those people and not educated? Or they're young, maybe students in university trying to get by with a job. Uh, so, to say the AI is ubiquitous, digital voice assistants share everything you want to know. Yeah, you got the chat bots. Um, so when you call, instead of talking to a live person, you'll engage with an online chatbot. In the medical area, it'll help in diagnosing cancer and health issues. Banks use sophisticated software to check for fraud and non-compliance. AI predominantly controls driverless automobiles, newsfeeds, social media, and job applications. Yeah, as for job applications, I know that Amazon's laid off a bunch of recruiters because now they're going to lead into uh, the when you apply for a job, you apply to a website that will go somewhere. Your resume will get scanned. Then, if it likes what it sees based on a database and AI on top of that, probably email you an interview, and then you'll do an interview via chatbot to go through the first, we'll call it initial screening. You pass that, and eventually you'll talk to a real human. So I could see this really affecting HR as well. Um, so I could go on and on about it over the last 11 minutes. So the question is, what are you going to do to safeguard your wealth? What are you going to do to safeguard your earning potential? And one thing I've been sending back and forth with a few people is the demise of software engineering. For instance, many people in their, let's say, teenagers, let's say, smart ones overseas, like this was a story from Singapore, so it's in Asia. The colleges and universities for IT, specifically software engineering, are now going from 400 entries or entrance into these AI computer science programs up to 700. So from what I'm seeing, they're saying there's a need for IT. Anything if it's developers, if it's uh, DevOps, networking, da da da. That for every job out there, if you look at the stats on LinkedIn, it's probably anywhere from 3 to 500 job applicants per job, and then they say there's a shortage of people. Um, well, I find that very hard to believe if you get 3 to 500 applicants per job for an IT position. So when you go back to these schools now, from 400 to 600 some odd entries of students in the program, there's now an oversupply of software engineers and developers. So as the AI globally becomes more sophisticated, you have the chatbot basically writing code for you based upon questions. So that brings about, I'll probably do another podcast or video on this, where what's happening is non-technical people are thinking they're programmers, put in a bunch of questions into a chat GPT or whatever, Bard or whatever there is, and they'll spit back code, and then they expect the code to run. Well, gotcha there, because it normally won't, or it won't run as you expect or with the results that you want. So the AI currently will assist there. Will it eventually replace coders? I strongly think so, because when you get regular people, non-technical, being able to develop code via these AI, uh, ChatGPT or whatever, that's a real thing. Not only that, there's a website that I can't remember the name of it. Begins with an X, and it focuses on low code technology, so non-technical people can develop their own code that they run against a server to generate their own data, and then turn it into an API and make money and get an earning from the API. That's real. That's coming. That will improve. So even the people in IT, and especially if you're younger, those positions are, I hate saying it, will be threatened. A good example, IBM recently laid off 8,000 people with the AI replacing those jobs. When I was in school in the 90s, we didn't have data warehousing. We didn't have these 24-hour cyclical programming cycles. So back then in the early 90s, it was IBM that led this new business practice where data warehouses were being invented by IBM, but more importantly was if you're in North America and you write a piece of code, what IBM would do is they take that piece of code and then hand it off to an Indian team overnight, and then there would be another addition to the code, and that you would take over that piece of code and continuing working on it, and you'd be passing code between a department in, let's say, India to do the job. Where we're at now, India, pretty well Asia, Eastern Europe, there's coders everywhere now. That's in my field, and that's evolved over the last 90s. But where I'll start was from IBM. So if IBM's now laid off 8,000 people in for AI, and IBM usually sets the trend, or Amazon, yeah, you can expect that to go global across all industries. So it's just a matter of time. So again, the question comes back to what do you do? How do you preserve your wealth? Where do you go? Automated trading, I just learned a few days ago, it's a bad keyword on Google. So if you're asking why my traffic's going down, I didn't know this, but yeah, algo trading and Python together is a bad combination where you'll get slapped by Google. So everybody's doing it with algo trading. So as a result, yeah, algo trading is an option to automate your trades, especially now with cryptos coming back. Bitcoin has gone up quite a bit. Da da da. So that's where you're gonna go. Um, and there's a huge demand for it, I know, but people don't want to pay for it. But in order to retain your wealth, a lot of these financial advisors are not going to cut it. I've talked to quite a few people, that are older or going into retirement or in retirement. They got millions of dollars in the bank, but they get really, really panicky when they've got the retirement, and the number one goal in any field, especially investment, is to retain your portfolio, preserve your wealth, and basically uh, not lose money. That's your number one goal. And a lot of the financial advisors are doing that now. You could just take a look at what happened last year in 2022, 2023. There might be some saving graces for the smart ones, but essentially people are losing money in their wealth. So they're turning to doing it themselves. And what I'm finding is it is a losing game because 90+% of all so-called traders lose money. And you also have the uh, the financial advisors pretty well losing money too. So there's that, and then you think you'll be okay because you'll have a job. Well, as I said earlier, what are you going to do when the AI comes for not just for your job, but for your career? That's what you should be really thinking about. So with the AI, or sorry, the algo trading out there, um, can you do it yourself? Yes and no. I've been working now with TradingView for about 5 months. It is the number one trading platform, the number one investment website on the planet. Just look up any chart on Google search, and you'll see number one result is most likely and very strong, high probabilities you're going to get. Number one will be a TradingView chart. So that's one thing. And now what I've built out is, I can build strategies within TradingView with the source, with the Pine script, and be able to I could do this quite a lot now, building out these strategies, automated trading. But when I developed it, I thought, oh, this is great. So I connected um, my broker, interactive brokers to it, and I realized that no, you can't do automated trading or yeah, auto trading with TradingView. So I spent another couple of weeks looking at ways to uh, get around that. So we've got a solution in place now. It looks pretty good. It's doing pretty good. I'm about up 10, 12, maybe 15% with the crypto trading in the last week from it. And it's pretty easy. I have to tell you, I'm like kind of shocked by it. It's just resetting if it's interactive brokers, reset the trader workstation, da da da. So what am I saying? If your career is threatened as is, and what can you do to earn money? I don't know. Maybe you will be destined for UBI. I don't know. Part of the other thing is if you're going in retirement with a portfolio and you're trying to grow your portfolio and automate the trades, because it is difficult to do it manually or discretionary. It's very stressful. If you start losing money, you probably could get a heart attack very quickly from it. So the automation will take out that emotion because it's all rules based. But what I'm finding, it's much easier now with TradingView as well. So that's what I built out to preserve wealth. Um, and anyone in the world of whatever field you're in, you really got to start to think about how you see yourself in 5 years. Will your career still be there? And some will say it'll be radically changed. Maybe depends upon where you're at. Depends upon your educational level. As if you're living in the West, Canada is a great example in the leading of the future of where the West is going. Um, if you are in the West with a career, and you're older, let's say, you will have to worry about younger people, and not just that, but if they're coming from overseas via mass immigration, those are new people competing for your job and willing to do your job at half of what you make or three quarters of what you make currently. So that constant threat is going to be there. So you got to get in the mindset that you're building out a portfolio that you live off of, and especially now that what we're going into with recession, um, yeah, I'd be concerned where you're going. As a result, I would take a look at what I've got here with the trading view and the automation and the ability to auto trade with it via Python. Um, yeah, because it's important. It's going to get critical, and not only that, but I'll have some sales going on. Get on my email list if you really want to get serious about it. Quantlabs.net/books. I'll put that in the podcast description. Um, and I give away some free. I think it's 2 books I do. It's just kind of older, but just to give you an idea of how you could do it non-programmatically with no programming. It's via Excel and other hints as well. But I am pretty well focusing a lot. I don't know the percentage, but a lot on TradingView now with the programming language, PineScript. I've got some courses there. This is going to affect everybody. What I'm talking about, AI is coming after your job. This is what the corporations want. There's been major layoffs. Um, uh, so, as an example, going back to this article here on Forbes, um, regarding Jack Dorsey, tech billionaire founder of Twitter and Square, artificial intelligence will soon write its own software. So that's coming back against software engineering. This will put some beginner level software engineers in the top spot. I just mentioned that. He discussed with Yang on an episode, and he said talk we talk a lot about self-driving trucks and whatnot. AI is even coming for programming jobs. A lot of the goals of machine learning and deep learning is to write software itself over time. It's happening now. So a lot of entry level programming jobs will just not be as relevant anymore. Um, and funny enough, his firm just laid off 1,000 people this week. So go figure. Management consultants deploy AI. Now remember, always it's the management consulting companies that set trends in most of corporate America and the West. They like the McKinseys. So if they're on it, the upper C-suite of a lot of corporations are going to those management companies trying to figure out how they can basically displace people, reduce those costs, boost the productivity. And again, people are now getting laid off, fewer jobs, more experienced people get laid off. So those more experienced people get the jobs, and the less experienced don't get the jobs. So that's where it's going. And a good example of this, of where things are going with McDonald's. in Texas a while back, they introduced self-serving kiosks. They fired all the hourly workers to cut costs, and that was in Texas. So they had a franchise that had no human in it, but it was able to make food, take the order, process the order, and accept payment in a building, all done with tech and AI, robots, and all that. Going back to the article, investment banks that rely on software instead of traders to make multi-million dollar bets on the stock market will continue to implement technology and downsize people to enhance profit. Those are the quant guys. Those are all the or quant people, I should say. The researchers and all the Wall Street, researchers, human or not. And said this trend has likely and potential to impact all classes of workers adversely. Latest cities studies spotlight on the dire results of AI, including lost wages. That's a for sure thing as inflation kicks in. Rapid growth in income equality. It's time to take talk serious about AI and should be managed before it's too late. You can't manage it. You can't regulate it in a free market. Um, the government, the Western governments like Canada will be putting people on UBI, no doubt. What will happen to them? I don't know. That's currently happening with the stats I just read you from the U.S. debt clock. So this is the direction we're going on, and strongly consider what you're going to do to protect yourself, your wealth. As I said, if you want to start with what I got, take a look at it, quantlabs.net/books. Get in on the conversation, read and engage what I put out there. All my things that I've got will virtually double over the next few days, few weeks, just due to the demand of this stuff. I'm growing on TradingView itself and elsewhere. We'll leave it at that. Thanks for listening and good luck. And may the force be with you. Over and out.